Hi, everyone. Today we sat down with two doctors, Dr. Carly and Dr. Rachel. They are founders of Kale Blossom. We talked about their experiences with holistic health, being moms, and how they navigate health in today's society. Coral, what did you enjoy about it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking about how mothers could go and get their blood work done. They have a lot of really interesting resources, and that all their information is on their Instagram.
Yeah, it was great. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for coming on and wanting to talk to us. We're very excited to chat with you. If you guys could just tell us a little bit about yourselves and then Kale Blossom, that would be great.
Take it away, Rachel. All right. Yes. So Carly and I actually met in medical school. She's from Wisconsin. I'm from Georgia. And we both got into medical school for very different reasons. I actually went into public health, worked for a large hospital system, and was frustrated with basically the lack of options and education for patients. It was all basically your labs are abnormal. Let's get ready to go on medication for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Carly had something similar. She really wanted to know why, kind of like root cause focused. We both had moms that cooked our home meals and we ate
Mm.
around the table and had very healthy upbringings. So we actually graduated, went separate directions, and then I talked Carly into moving south because it's way too cold up north. And
Yeah.
we started practicing, long story short, in Atlanta, and our practice was full. We were on a waiting list, largely seeing women and their children, sometimes men too. And we were like, how do we help more women? Because after a decade, we're hearing the same kind of concerns, worries, symptoms, and these women are coming in without any real answers and no root causes. So we were like, let's start Kale Blossom as a website. Let's just put tons of free information. We could do a blog. And then we were like, let's go to social media, which was not
Mm.
on our bingo card. We never set out to be influencers. We still cringe at that word, honestly. And then we got big into the low-tox thing, which we have been for years. And we're like, okay, how can we help women do this better at home? So then we built an app. Again, we are not techie. This was not on our bingo card. Carly has 2 kiddos. I have 6 kiddos. So we're just doing it.
That's great. That's great. So then do you guys do coaching as well in Kale Blossom? Like do you meet with clients and things like that?
We don't through Kale Blossom.
Okay.
That's been through our practice. So we're
Okay.
hoping to do more of that in the near future, but kind of took a
Great.
pause on that while we have little kids and
Yeah.
that elementary age. We're trying to, go to all their school events and be with them through all
Oh
the
yeah.
things. So yeah.
How old are your kids?
See, I have a 12 and a 10.
And I
Great.
have a 14, 12, 8, 6, and 2.5-year-old twins. And when
Great.
we found out we were having twins, which was a beautiful surprise. One was planned the buy one, get one free was not. So Carly was juggling all the patients in the practice and I was on an extended maternity leave. And we were feeling like we're a little bit burned out. We've been practicing
Yeah.
15 years each. Like, let's regroup, focus on Kale Blossom. I still see patients 1 day a week, every other week.
Sure.
And we still have, a lot of contact with previous patients that we had for years, but we're really focusing on Kale Blossom and building the app right now, growing it.
That's great. And then how does the app, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just
Um,
said, and our family.
Families first, yeah.
yes, yes, that's so important. So then how does the app work and how can homeschooling families access that if they're interested?
Sure. It's a low-tox scanner app. So there's nothing like it out there. We were trying to think of something cool to do, and we realized there's so many apps out there for food, but there's nothing for home products. So we're like, this is
That's
what
so
we can
true.
do.
Yeah.
So you can scan a product or type in a product, and Nook will analyze that product. It gives you ingredients and tells you what's inside, and then it also offers low-tox swaps. So we want to educate and inform and give options through the app.
We
That's
named it
wonderful.
Nook because we want every nook in families' homes to be lending towards health and
Mm,
well-being and less chemicals as less as possible.
yeah.
We can't avoid them all because we live
Yeah.
in a toxic world. So think cleaners, pillows, bed sheets,
Kitchen stuff.
kitchenware, pots, pans, glassware,
That's
baby
great.
cribs, car seats, anything kind of under your roof. But you can also
Mm,
take it to the store. So we have it where you can take a picture of an item, or if you're searching for something like I am going to purchase a new rug for my kitchen, you can
mhm.
also type it in and we have other options for you. So
Wow, that's great. Coral, do you have questions? I don't want to cut you off if you have questions.
No, I was just listening, but so the app, it helps with like all different types of swaps, including candles, cleaners, and how do people find that? Like, how did people find you to find the app? Because for me, when I was pregnant, I was trying to find something like that because I was, I had candles and I got rid of all the candles, but I was like, I don't know what to use now. And we had cats. So, just trying to find things quickly. How do people find you guys usually?
Sure. We're on Instagram, so kaleblossom.com, and we have links there to Nook. We also have a Nook page on Instagram, so ask.nook. And then the app is available in the App Store. It's available for Apple users right now, but we are working very diligently on making that available for Android users as well.
Great. That's awesome. So then how did you guys kind of, you talked a little bit about how you got into holistic health. How did you sort of really find a passion for that?
Oh gosh. I think, well, fast forward for sure when you have kids,
Yeah.
especially getting into the low tox arena, I think, we were always kind of passionate about health in general and just root cause and being healthy.
Yeah.
But then you have kids and it kind of brings you to this whole new level.
Mhm.
And that's really, I think, what drove us in that low tox direction as well, and wanting to help others because it is so important. And we see families so affected by toxins. And like Rachel said, we can't be perfect and we don't want to make this feel like a burden, but we want to help families and guide them. Because it can be tricky, right?
Yeah.
You go to a store and you read a label and it's like, I don't understand what any of this means.
It's so overwhelming.
Yeah, we wanted to take the guesswork out of it and make it a little bit easier on everyone because we all need more ease in our life.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Especially these days. So then, you talked a little bit about holistic health. How do you teach these habits to your kids?
Oh, yes. Well, one of the biggest ways is we practice what we preach because we know how much we model. Our kids, they're always watching us. So that's a big factor. So things like cooking at home, getting them involved in the kitchen, getting them involved with meal prep, getting them, getting their kind of wants and desires for a week for the meals, sitting around the table, reading ingredient labels together. That's one big blessing that Nook has been for us because we both have 12-year-old daughters. They're like a year apart, little besties. And, sometimes as moms, we're not always a prophet in our own land. Like they don't want to hear it from their mom again, who's a holistic doctor. So we've been really big on trying to teach, especially, it's important for sons, but especially for girls or daughters. And this is the same in our practice too, women, because there's this big push by society to be perfect and not age and be beautiful. So we lather ourselves with lotions and potions and perfumes and makeup. And now Ulta and Sephora, it's like all the rage.
Yes.
We blame the Kardashians. It's their fault. But so the app has been great for our 12-year-olds because they can actually use the app from our phone and scan the ingredients, and it actually teaches them. So then they can say, oh, this product is actually a yellow because it ranks them red, yellow, green. It's not just mom saying that. There's actually a reason behind it. So I think modeling is big, teaching them without shaming them. We still, if our kids go to a birthday party, we're not going to, be like, no, you cannot have that red food dye cupcake. We're going to let them enjoy it, but we're also going to say, pay attention to how your body feels. And the majority of our kids now will decline certain foods just because they realize that my 14-year-old's like, he'll pop a pimple. He'll get a pimple, he's like, I know it's mom, or my, one of my daughters will get a tummy ache. I'm like, it's just not worth it anymore. But we don't have it all figured out. Parenting is hard.
You guys think that it's more important to focus on food, household products, or like lotions, soaps? What do you think is like if someone had to really focus on one thing to start detoxing, what would you recommend?
That's a hard question because it's all important.
All of the above.
Yeah. I would start with food for sure. Food is medicine. Right? Everything we put inside of our bodies is literal fuel and signals to tell our body what to do and thrive. So I think food is probably the most important thing for me. But I mean, all those others are very important as well.
Right.
I think if you were to start somewhere, I think food is the best option.
I think food is good also. Absolutely. I would agree with that. And I would put an asterisk with that, in that we can't be perfect. Definitely tried to focus on food, and it all matters now, right? Especially
Yeah.
because there is so much we can't control. Every choice that we make, we vote with our dollars, the choices that we make. And one thing about our conventional medical system, it's so reductionistic, right? It reduce it down to like, if you have a thyroid problem, oh, it's just your thyroid, or oh, you're having gut symptoms, it's just your gut.
Hmm.
No, it's all related. So we've got to look at food, we've got to look at household products, we've got to look at body care products. And yes,
Hmm.
start where you feel like you can, do what you can, where you can, when you can, when
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
but it's oftentimes, though, it's like a waterfall. So if you feel like food is the most doable, stick
Yeah.
to the Clean 15 Dirty Dozen by the Environmental Working Group. They put out that list every year. If it's a food with a peel on it that you're going to peel off, maybe you can buy that conventional. But if it's a berry, you want to buy that organic.
Yep.
Getting to
Hmm.
know those little tidbits that really help. And then, like something that you use all the time, like a glass cleaner. Windex is actually quite toxic, and they've got the majority of the market. I mean, they sell like millions of bottles of Windex every year. So when you run out of Windex, either go on Pinterest and see how you can do an easy DIY vinegar glass cleaner,
Hmm.
or use something like Nook that will provide swaps for you, or check Amazon and look at their low-tox section and see if you could do one swap, and then you feel really good, get some wind in your sails, and it
Yeah.
just goes from there.
I love that. That's great. Go ahead, Coral.
I think for a lot of moms, it's hard because, you think you're doing the right thing and then you find out like, oh, I'm poisoning my kid doing this, or my kid's getting like it's always feels like it's the next thing. And then even like when I was buying laundry detergent and I thought it was healthy and I thought it was good, and then it turns out it wasn't a good laundry detergent. So the whole time I was washing my baby's clothes, I was washing it in bad laundry detergent. And I think that gets like really discouraging for people.
Well, I think you bring up another good point too. There's a lot of greenwashing out there, right? You look at
Yeah.
some of these brands and they make it look so healthy and the label's pretty and it says natural and it gets very confusing. So you do think, I mean, we've all fallen into that kind of trap, right? You look at something, you're like, this looks great. And then sometimes also the products change. Companies get bought out, especially smaller ones, ingredients change. So it kind of is the next thing. I mean, you have to keep an eye on products too, especially as a brand grows.
That's what we hope we're helping with on Kale Blossom, because we get it as moms too. It can be overwhelming, and
Hmm.
not to shame or use language like you are poisoning your child, because you're right though. We have enough guilt as it is, and we care so much about our little people. We want them to be as healthy as possible, but we fall victim to really great sleazy marketing. Like Seventh Generation used to be a really good. We
Yeah,
thought
I was just gonna say that.
it
Yeah.
was bought out by Unilever. And the thing,
Hmm.
like Carly was alluding to, these big corporations come in, small family-owned companies, they start their hearts in it. It's like blood, sweat, tears to build their business. They care
Yes.
about quality ingredients, but these big corporations buy it. And sometimes they change the ingredients, so it's obvious. But what they're doing more sneakily now is they change the supplier, right? Their job is to make a profit,
Save money.
to save money. So they'll find a cheaper supplier of the same ingredient. So the label never changes, but the quality slowly decreases. So yes, it's finding some good resources like Kale Blossom. We're biased, of course, but we feel like we try to be a really good, honest, reliable resource that you can pull in, but always read labels. Don't just look at the front, beautiful, whatever
Mhm.
cover, whatever product it is. Always read labels, do your own research, and just do the best that you can.
Yeah.
That's really good. So then, if homeschooling families want to integrate holistic health education into their homeschooling journey, how would you suggest they do that? Do you have books you recommend, podcasts, anything like that?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of good books out there. That's always a great place to start. Where do we have a list of books on Amazon, don't we? All kinds of topics. Of course, our account. There's a lot of what other good accounts are out there? Just the inserts. There's a lot of good Instagram accounts as well to just
Yeah.
steadily dive into.
There's some bad ones too, though.
Well, yes,
You have to be a little better. We should try to put together we might have to write that book for holistic
Yeah.
health for kids.
It's true. Where to
Yes.
You're giving us an idea.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
so cool when, especially whatever school program people are doing, but like getting the kids out right now, spring, like getting their hands in soil and gardening.
Yes.
Very
Mhm.
easy to put sweet potatoes in the soil and let them grow
Mhm.
tubers. And then you have a sweet potato plant, like seeds that
Mhm.
seed where their
Yeah.
food comes from is one of the biggest pieces of education that I think I would love to see all schools offer. I think what is
Oh.
it? Most American kiddos, or at least half, don't even know what a tomato is, which is just
Hmm.
wild. Getting
Hmm.
back to basics, I'd love to see a curriculum where they're like making poultices and like how to
Homeopathy.
homeopathy. We
Yes, yes.
guides. Our homeopathy guide is meant. We took so long writing this because it was a labor of love. We love homeopathy.
Yay! I love homeopathy. Yes.
So wonderful. It's such a great, powerful medicine and so
Hmm.
safe. It has one of the
Yes.
best safety records on the market of all over the counter and natural medicines. So
Hmm.
we put together a guide that literally would be great for someone just starting out.
Hmm.
And it would also be someone who has been using homeopathy, but just wants like another set of eyes, docs who have used it in clinical practice for whether it's a sty or lingering cough or a GI
Hmm.
issue. So that is on Etsy. That's
Okay,
a
great.
guide. It's over 80 remedies, 40
Mhm.
pages, but easy to read, we hope.
What's that called? What's the book called?
Well, it's a guide on Etsy.
Oh,
So
okay.
what is it called? Homeopathy. Can you call it the homeopathy
It's
guide?
under Kale Blossom's Etsy store. There's
Okay.
only one. I think it's a guide to homeopathy.
Okay, great.
I don't.
Yeah.
So do you follow like I know there's like Dr. Banerjee or Joette Calabrese. I don't know. Do you guys have you followed them at all or anything like that?
I'm not familiar with them.
Okay,
No.
okay, that's fine. I was just curious if you guys have heard of them or not. But yeah, yeah, that's really
So
cool.
if you're homeschooling and you want your kids to actually learn about why you're saying no to red dye and what are there any books that you guys recommend or do you guys have any like programs like if I don't want my kid on Instagram like scrolling through to find
Right.
information,
Yes.
I want them to read a book, especially because if I'm homeschooling, it's important. Is there any books that you guys recommend that are kind of easy reads for kids, but they are understanding why these toxins are bad?
I don't know that
That's a
there
great
is.
question.
We got to write the book
I
or
know. I
else
was
we'll
just
find some. So we'll circle back to you guys.
I mean,
that'd
if
be
I was
great.
your Hinge, I would, without them, I would probably get online and find some like readable information, age
Mhm.
appropriate, and maybe print it
Yeah.
out and let them read it. Whether that's something like an EWG or just a more reputable website, that's probably where I would start. But we'll have to get back to you on that. That's a great question.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think explaining more, like a red food dye, talking to them about colors of the
Mm,
earth, the ones that God created, a red rose, a
mm,
red ladybug, and then comparing it to red in a cupcake and saying this is synthetic. They make it in a laboratory with chemicals. You could always share the name of the chemicals, which are big long names, and say, is this something that feels, natural and safe for your body, or this, and kind of make the comparison.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I've always done it. I think
Yeah.
you do it too, is more just comparing, even if you're not fully aware of what everything means, but just really relating it to their everyday world.
Mm-hmm.
Not making it stressful but just
Yeah.
really getting to the basics.
What I've always told my kiddos and patients too is when we're trying to eat and nourish our body, we want to look for things that grow on a plant, bush, tree, or roam the earth. And there are no Cheeto ponds, there are no ice cream ponds, there are no, candy cane trees,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. And then we say those are for special occasions,
Mm-hmm.
so that we're not making them feel like they can't ever have it, but that we
Yeah.
need to focus more on the good, fresh, natural foods to nourish our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So then I do have a question. I have actually have a red dye allergy. I was tested. And so it's proven. I also have a gluten allergy too. But when I was younger, I had some people in my life, family members, pressure me like, oh no, you can eat it. You'll be fine. Knowing
Mhm.
I wouldn't be fine. I actually get almost like flu-like symptoms if I eat it. Um, and I had to be like, no, I'm not eating that because it doesn't make me feel good. So do you have recommendations of how kids can handle those situations when adults or other people try and pressure them to eat
Oh,
foods that they know will not be good for them?
That's so hard. And, you know, we have kids with sensitivities and things too. And they've been through the same, and kids pressuring or even adults not
Yes.
understanding.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think again, just teaching them, you can say, I don't feel good when I eat it, and
Mm-hmm.
simply just say, no, thank you. And they don't have to go into a long explanation, but keeping it short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
using the word allergy is really strong sometimes, even if it's not a true allergy. You know, if you're
Mm-hmm.
at a restaurant, or sometimes people listen, but and family's tough. Sometimes
Yes.
family
The
is
hardest.
the hardest to deal with.
Yes.
They mean
Yes.
well, but it's like they want to please your child and
Mm-hmm.
make them feel
Mm-hmm.
happy. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so that can sometimes be the most difficult. But I think keeping it short, just
Yeah.
saying no, thank you, it makes me feel really achy.
Yeah.
We're with you though. We're gluten-free and dairy-free too in our houses.
Mm-hmm.
And again, family is the hardest. There's just no right answer. But so many do say, look, you know, we ate that as a kid and we're fine. But even, you know, for example, Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts in the 80s were not like the Pop-Tarts
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Fewer ingredients, much less processing. So it is an uphill battle. And food is complicated because it's so much a part of our day to day. We celebrate with food, we lament
Mm.
with food, we reward children with food, we
Yeah.
reward ourselves with food. So it's one of the more difficult ones to conquer for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. So then if a mom is feeling overwhelmed, where can she start with like food prep? Do you have like tips and tricks that moms can use to make the whole food process easier?
We just did a post on Chick-fil-A today, and it's unfortunate because we pick on all of them, not just Chick-fil-A. But with 55 ingredients, can we really even call that a piece of food, you know, at this point?
Mm,
And it really stinks because being a mom is hard and it
mhm,
is busy. And then you throw in life and extracurricular activities, and there aren't just
mhm.
great farm to table drive-through restaurants. One day we
We hope.
dream, we hope. Maybe you guys
Yeah.
could start for us. So I think both of us live by our crock pots and
Yeah.
meal planning. There are absolutely some really good mom meal planning websites and Instagram sites out there.
Keeping things really simple,
Yeah.
not
Mhm, mhm.
overcomplicating things. We don't have to make like this big grandiose meal with
Yeah.
special seasonings and flavors. You can, I mean, it's still work, right? Chopping some
Mhm.
veggies, maybe just roasted chicken, but really it doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have to spend all day in the kitchen to make it a healthy, nourishing meal that our families will eat. So kind
Yeah.
of just reframing, but also, you know, when we were, I guess, younger and before that, our moms, grandmas spent the majority of their day in the kitchen. So just kind of reframing also how we think about food and meals, that is super, super important.
Mhm.
And kind of trying to rewind as much as we can back in time, just spending that time because it is important, but also understanding we are pulled in so many directions these days.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I know I will, you know, chop up some raw veggies on a Sunday to kind of have through the week, wash some berries so they're there in the fridge. The apples are sitting there for my kids. So there's always
Ground
something.
beef. Go ahead
Yeah.
and brown it so you can have extra ready to go.
There's always something there, at least that they can
Mhm.
snack on or eat, that we feel good about them eating.
That's
Yeah.
really important though, because in our practice, and you may agree or not, but I feel like one of the most depleted patient populations we see are moms, but homeschool moms.
Mm.
And it is such an important job that they're doing. And it's just a lot. You're in charge of
Yes.
educating the child and then also
Mhm.
keeping the homestead up, and you're the CEO of the
Mhm.
household. And society doesn't really give moms, especially homeschool moms, the credit they deserve.
Yeah.
So literally asking for help. You know, it's asking
Mm.
my husband, say, I need you to take the kids on Sunday for an hour because I am going to be prepping in the kitchen, and it's going
Yep.
to help both of us all week long. Or get
Yeah.
kids that are old enough, you know, they have so many good kids knife sets now that are safe for kids to use. Get them
Mhm.
prepping the veggies that you can pull from all week long. Like Carly said, you know, pick the 3 or 4 meals that you know your kids love and that are somewhat easy to make. And that includes frozen foods. You know, keeping a huge bag of organic broccoli in my freezer at all times because it's easy to pour out
That's smart.
olive oil, sea salt, throw it in, and I've got a fresh veggie per se. So don't be afraid to
Mhm.
use frozen foods. I think, but it's really doing what works for you and getting in a rhythm for sure.
and
Yeah.
not feeling guilty about it. I think for a long time, especially when we had our first children, you kind of feel guilty. Oh, a frozen veggie, it's not that bad. You wanted everything to be fresh and like the best. It's still really great. So you
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
feel
Hmm.
that as well.
Holds its
That's
nutrient
great.
capacity.
Hmm.
Frozen foods do very well. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's
What
great.
would you say to moms that are their kids are more the chicken nugget, butter noodle? Like how do you get the kids to start making the change to start being more natural? You know, if the moms found your page and they're like, okay, I want to make this change, but the kids are now the chicken nugget kids, what would you say would be a good way to get them into eating healthier?
well, again, they're watching us. So it does, they're watching everything on our plates and that we put in our mouths. So it starts oftentimes with mom and dad, especially with moms. We call it the toddler diet, where they're
Mm.
eating the leftovers from the toddler's plate, on the go and not sitting down. So literally sitting down with your child, even if they have a plate of noodles and chicken nuggets, putting something colorful on the plate. Kids love color. Trying to make a rainbow. I'm not saying you have to
Mm.
have every single color of the rainbow, but put some red pepper strips, put some dark purple blueberries, and let them kind of get in finger food, play with their food. And in the world of
Mm.
dietetics, you have to expose a kid sometimes upwards of 12 times to a food before you can literally say, yeah, they don't like it. Now there are kids with sensory issues and palate airway issues and neurodivergent kiddos, but ultimately familiarity, letting them be involved with food, playing with food, hands-on prep, all of that can really help increase kind of the palate of a picky kiddo. It's important though. This is the window where you can really have to get
Yeah.
in and
I
Yeah.
also, my little trick at dinner time or whatever meal is if I know it's not their favorite, I put like one thing they really like on the table. Maybe it's
Oh,
a
that's
bowl of
great.
peaches or blueberries or something, because they kind of hone in on that. But I find that if you kind of put things around it, they still might like it. They'll just kind of gobble it all up. So maybe something that's very, very familiar and they really, really like. So they don't just look at the table and think, oh, this is awful. I'm not going to eat any of this, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
making something kind of the center and then kind of weaving things
Yeah.
in around it, especially when they were
That's great.
younger and they weren't so sure about certain things.
Mm.
And this is where a good quality children's multivitamin comes in, and there aren't a lot of good ones on the market.
No,
There's a
so
lot
true.
of really crummy ones. One of our favorite brands is coming out with one beginning of April. We're super excited. It's a powder, so you can mix it in. But
Oh,
if
nice.
your kiddo is one of those where you're like up, trying hard, but they're still the white, bland American diet, you definitely want to supplement. And we're not the type that are like, you got to buy every supplement under the sun. Everybody needs to be on a supplement at all times. But it oftentimes indicates nutrient deficiencies. And sometimes if you can fill those nutrient buckets back up, then their palate and their likes kind of start expanding.
Mhm.
So that's
That's great.
another good trick too.
That's great. I didn't know if you wanted to say more, Coral. I don't want to cut you off.
Okay, you're okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, so if somebody wants to take back their health, start fresh, what are like 5 simple steps that they can do each day to kind of renew themselves?
We
Sleep.
like to go back to the basics, the pillars of health, right? Go to
Yeah.
bed even 15 minutes earlier, drink an extra glass of water, go
Hmm.
outside for 10 minutes and walk around in the grass.
Yep. Yep.
Doing the simple things, not overhauling and trying to do an hour-long workout. Like that's not sustainable. We have to start with sustainable
Yep.
things that you enjoy because
Hmm.
those things will stick and they will turn into habits that you will continue every day. And then your kids will see you do it.
The
Hmm.
habit stacking is huge.
Yes.
So if you can, like she said, and those pillars of health being sleep, hydration, clean food, stress management, outside for fresh air, sunshine, movement or exercise, and connection or a community with others. We describe it like when you go to a restaurant and the legs of the table are wobbly and you got to put the sugar packet underneath, to kind of balance it out, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
if any one of those pillars is off, like say you're not getting good sleep, which sometimes moms can't help because we have little people to take care of, or if you're chronically dehydrated, we see this all the time. It doesn't matter the amount of supplements, the amount of any kind of biohacking and red light and castor oil packs or whatever. We love all that stuff. But if you don't have those basic kind of infrastructure pieces for your health,
Sure.
start there. Start there.
Yeah.
And sleep
That's
is
great.
number one.
Yes.
And like she said,
Yeah.
that can be really hard for moms, especially if you have real little ones. But sleep is
Hmm.
probably, if your sleep is suffering, everything else is going to
Oh, yeah, for
follow.
sure. Yeah, I definitely do not function well if I don't have enough
Right.
sleep. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I become a very angry person very quickly. So then you had talked earlier about you're seeing a lot of moms who are struggling, especially homeschool moms. We kind of just talked about this, but do you have any specific tips that they can take as women to work on their health?
I think taking the time to check in with yourself,
Mhm.
Mm, that's
making
good.
sure you are all the things we just discussed. So the pillars
Hmm.
of health, but
Yep.
then also things like making sure you're taking some time in the day. It doesn't have to be an hour, 5, 10 minutes to yourself. Again, I need to step out. I need to get some fresh air. And then also keeping up with your health, getting your annual lab work done, getting your dental checkup, making sure that you are, working on hitting those marks as well. Because so many women all of a sudden will go years and they, haven't had a good set of labs done, right? And so many of the things that they may be feeling could have been prevented or supported
Mm.
with some work. So we often put ourselves to the side, right? We're
Yeah.
worried about our
Yeah.
kids, our husbands, and keeping the house afloat, but we need to also worry about ourselves.
We
Mhm.
posted on that yesterday, actually. So many doctors will tell a woman who's just had a baby or still nursing, don't do your lab work, wait till you're done nursing. But sometimes women nurse for months or years, right? We
Mhm.
both did. And that's one of the biggest things. A woman has a baby, and it can take up to 10 years after one single pregnancy for a woman to replete back to her nutrient baseline. So then what happens is
Wow.
most women go on to have another baby, at least two, sometimes three, sometimes four, sometimes five. And then she has little people to keep up with while she's got a newborn and she's
Mm.
been pregnant. And so she just gets further depleted, depleted, depleted. And then the
Wow.
body's cellular function goes awry. Then inflammation sets hold. Then hormones become, imbalanced. So literally, it's really focusing, especially after each pregnancy, especially if you're nursing, which is a very demanding metabolic time period, you have to really take the time to position yourself as first and foremost and get
Mm-hmm.
your husband on board to help you with that. Have him
Hmm.
not in a naggy way, but like, let me help make dinner tonight. Have you
Hmm.
drink your water today? He can be your accountability
Cheerleader.
partner and cheerleader. Yeah. Because when mom is happy and healthy, everybody benefits, right? Versus we see so many moms that are like resentful and grumpy and impatient and they can't stand when their husband's chewing and the littlest thing that their child does that usually doesn't bother them. And that's, our society tells moms that's just motherhood. And yes, motherhood is hard. It is an act of complete service and selflessness, but we still also can take joy and take care of ourselves and
Hmm.
thrive in motherhood versus just survive.
That's great.
So when you say to do labs, oh, what would you like? What would you recommend looking at? Like, what kind of labs are you guys looking for?
So we actually post about this all the time. So if you go on Kale Blossom, you can find a lot of posts on it in our highlights. I think do we have an article about it too on our website? We might.
Probably.
If we don't, I need to post one. We have a guide, also a free guide
Yeah.
available, but there's a list that we've used in practice for our 15 years with women. It's kind of standard labs baseline that we think every woman should have done at least on an annual basis. And it's not about looking for issues, but really from tracking, right, from a start point and every year to kind of see and catch anything that may start to go awry. And that gives a little bit of a deeper dive into, okay, this level is maybe changing, what else might be going on in your life that can be contributing. So it's a good kind of tracking system and a way to keep tabs on your health.
And even small abnormalities in like iron, which is very common with women, and that will be missed on a CBC, but a ferritin can be low, and that will be illustrated in like fatigue, but you don't look anemic. So those
Mm-hmm.
little kind of nuances in lab work, knowing what to look for. And that's why our free lab work guide has the list. You can literally print it out, take it into your doctor. Most of them are covered by insurance. So there's no reason why a doctor should not or provider should not accommodate a woman. It shows the optimal reference ranges because that's the other thing. Reference ranges for like LabCorp Quest are based on a very unhealthy population, too wide. So we look at it not with this reference range, with a more narrow kind of functional medicine reference range. That's included in the lab work guide. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a provider with access, we have a lab shop on Kale Blossom, and you can get all of these labs for like $200-ish, 250.
Yeah, regular.
Which is like a very affordable. We tried to find a good lab that would do it for very, very low price when insurance can charge through the roof sometimes. And that lab shop, um, on their website, they have locations all throughout the US with blood draw sites. So you literally order it, go on the map, put in your zip code. You can go find the lab draw site. You can even pay a little extra and they will come to your home to draw blood in all states across the US. And then you get your lab work. So,
And if you can't find a doctor that like were to recommend like to read your labs and actually see what's going on with your health instead of putting you on a medication, you guys have a reference that like if your iron's low, I could go on your reference and see the levels. Is that what?
Yes, we have all the optimal reference ranges listed out. So you have a guide and kind of an idea of where you should be. Yes.
we also have a bigger guide. I just remembered Simplicity in Etsy. And we wrote that one. It's like 125 pages. And it was literally, if you don't have access to a provider, but you are a patient, and we take you through kind of step by step the pillars of health, stress, the mental, emotional, lab work, hormones, etc. So that's another good resource for sure.
That's great. That's wonderful. And then to kind of dive into this area, we kind of touched on this briefly, but since I feel like how do I want to say it? The there's like common misconceptions and holistic health can often be put down, I feel like. How do you
Mhm.
guys like stand up for what you believe in?
Oh, yeah.
We've been doing that from the beginning. Maybe we've just got very thick skin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we have strong beliefs. We have the evidence to back it up. We have the confidence. We've seen it in action. We see it work. We have the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. So I think, and yes, there are plenty of naysayers. We get plenty of interesting comments. Some
Oh,
not
I'm
so
sure.
nice, but I think at the end of the day, we're very confident in what we do and what we
Mm-hmm.
know. We see it work in our families, with our patients, with ourselves. So at the end of the
Yeah,
day, we're just confident in our knowledge, and
that's
and
great.
that's how we live. So it,
Yeah,
You
that's great.
know, the majority of Americans now are unhealthier. It's the first generation that isn't going to live longer potentially than
Mm-hmm.
the one before us. That's never happened.
Yeah.
It's like, so, okay, our healthcare system is so good. Why are we where we are? And,
Yeah.
when people want medications or the pill for every ill, we're like, we want you to have access to that. If you want to do the full vaccine schedule with your child, that is your prerogative. But
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we fight for the other side of the coin that doesn't have the big pharma backing and doesn't have the big
Mm-hmm.
lobbyist power, natural health, which is what we were all gifted on this, beautiful planet. So
Yeah.
definitely we do have to have a little bit of I wouldn't say sass, but a little bit of I think we went into this knowing that, what, this isn't going to be for everyone, but we
Yeah.
really resonate with it. And so we're going to keep at it. We're going to keep
That's
talking
great.
about colonoscopies and mammograms and big pharma and
Yeah.
fighting
health and
kids'
vaccines
health
and
and fighting
Mm-hmm.
for change because we think that we can change the healthcare system, not just we as in me and you, but just, if we unite and
Yeah.
people like, wait a minute, there
Yes.
are other options. And
Mm-hmm.
the real proof in the pudding, like Carly said, is when people actually feel better and they look back and go, whoa,
Mm,
I didn't know how depleted, depressed, and tired I was until I started
yeah.
feeling better. I mean, we are
Yeah.
literally walking around a bunch of tired, grumpy people in this country.
Yeah. We wonder why aggressive driving is such a big thing.
yeah, and
Everybody's exhausted and angry. I'm sorry, go ahead.
and it's not about going on medications
Yeah.
for those things. It could be B12 depletion and ferritin
Mm,
depletion.
sure.
And it's like those simple things, if you would just have them checked and if the doctor would look at them in an optimal light, things could be so different for so many women. So
Yeah.
that's why we keep doing it, because the information needs to be spread farther than it is.
That's great. That's really, really good. And then I had a follow-up question, but it just went out the window.
I have a
Coral,
question. So,
yeah, go
yeah.
ahead, Coral.
For moms that want to stand up for themselves and they're taking their kids to the doctor because they're trying to do the right thing, but these doctors are very pushy and they kind of make you feel like you're not doing the right thing. What would you recommend? Like, how do you recommend they stand up for themselves without feeling like they're going to get in trouble or the doctors are going to, call on them and say that they're neglecting their kids because they don't want to give them vaccines, or they don't want to put them on ADHD medication. How would you like recommend parents talk to doctors?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you, number one, if you already have a doctor that is like that, you need to fire them because there are better
Mm,
doctors out there. A doctor should never preside over you, they need to partner with you. You are the ultimate decision maker for your child. And I think, especially for new parents, new moms, you do have to go in with armor. And I say that not going in defensive, ready for a fight, but going in strong footed with the decision already made. So that means if there is going to be a vaccine coming up on your child's second birthday visit, you need to research before the night before. You need to be
yeah.
looking, reading so
Mm,
that you have ample information. One, so you can decide yes or no, which we're always supportive, whatever a mom, dad decide. But two, so then you're not backed into a corner the next day when you go in, they throw you a curveball and, make you feel bad. The other
mhm.
thing I tell parents is that pediatrician or that doctor doesn't really know you as a person, right? It's not a personal attack against you as a parent. This is their training. They have been immersed in this training in medical school to use these tools. Ultimately, we could talk about Southern Medical School is sponsored by pharmaceutical companies. It's just the way that it is. So if you
Mhm.
go in that and take out the personal kind of connection, I feel like it helps you be stronger. It's not a personal attack when they're trying to get you to do something. That's how they're trained and that's all they know. And then they can get defensive when you present something that they don't know. So that's why having all the facts going in with your mind made up. And if you don't feel like you have a decision, you need more time, push the appointment back. The CDC schedule is literally a man-made thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
They make
And
you
I
feel,
think also
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
not feeling like you have to know every single fact about a certain, let's say, vaccine or procedure.
Yeah.
You don't have to rattle off. I think sometimes keeping it short and just saying, what are my options? What are the pros, cons? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
no, thank you. So you're not feeling
Mhm.
like you're arguing with somebody. You don't need to sit
Yeah.
there and argue back and forth. Just go in with your short, simple questions and say, great, let's do it today. Or, you know what, I'd like some more time to think about it. No, thank you. Can we schedule another appointment?
Mm,
Keeping it brief.
yeah. That's great.
Right. I feel like a lot of moms tend to feel uneducated when they go into the doctors and they start asking you questions about why you don't want to do it, and you're like, you can only give the generic I don't want it, or I've seen it and I know it's not good for my child, but they push and you don't have the facts. So definitely I think educating yourself would be good. I have a 7 month old and I had a C-section,
Oh.
an unexpected C-section. So, but I didn't want to give her anything, and they made me feel so bad the whole time I was in there that I started questioning myself. And it was,
Yes.
my mom was the one that did the education, and my grandmother's a doctor, and she was like, "No, you don't have to do anything. Like you can always bring them back." And like that helped me, but I feel like some moms won't have that support to be like, no, you can always bring them back to the doctor and get these things. You don't have to do it right now.
Yeah. And
Yes.
just, again, just simply saying, I'm not comfortable, I'm not ready to do it today. I will think about it for next time. That's
Mhm.
it. Just say no, thank you. Not an argument, but just no, thank you.
The other thing that is a one-liner that covers the entire board, both vaccines and even medications like ADHD medications, it has none of them have ever been studied long term, not even just safety. That's the big thing now. This hasn't been studied long term. You can get even more specific and you can say this has not been studied long term for the potential to cause cancer in my child or
Mm,
to affect their fertility. And if you don't want to say the cancer thing, you can say fertility because that is absolutely true. We do have an infertility crisis in our country, and we
yeah.
don't know these medications, vaccines, birth control, Ritalin. I mean, all of these, we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know. We don't have those safety studies, and that is the truth.
And if you are thinking about, we'll go back to vaccines, a specific vaccine, if you look on the inserts,
Yeah.
it will literally list out side effects.
Mhm.
And those side effects are there because they have happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
just made up. So you can even kind of gently push back if you feel confident and say, well, can we review the insert together?
And
That's
every
good.
clinic
They
has to have
probably
the
haven't even
inserts.
read it, to be very honest.
Yeah, that's true. You can read it together. Every clinic and hospital has to have the insert from whatever vaccine they're giving. justtheinserts.com. We know her personally. She's awesome. She has all the vaccine inserts on her website. So you can literally pull from there because sometimes they're hard to find. And,
And it will say things like meningitis and some terrible side effects. So you can say, well, gosh, I'm not comfortable with that potential side effect. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit easier.
Even like measles right now, which is very much has been in the news, even one child dying is awful and it is a tragedy. And oftentimes those children do have underlying issues. So it doesn't apply to the general pediatric population. In addition, the big thing is encephalitis. But guess what's listed in the measles insert as a potential side effect of the vaccine? Encephalitis. So we've got to see through this big pharmaceutical, these talking points in marketing and say, okay, wait a minute. What are the risks? What are the benefits? Let me get through the full transparency here so that I can actually have informed consent. And the other thing is if you decide to do a vaccine, make sure that they bring you the bottle and the insert so that you can see it at that time. Because the other thing is people, providers are people too. They make mistakes. And you definitely, if you're going to want to space out vaccines and only do a few, you need to make sure that it's the ones that you actually want versus an accidental dosage of something. That happens a lot.
That happened to me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Which one did you get accidentally?
Well, they actually didn't know. I
Oh.
went to the doctor I was going to go into paramedic school, and they gave me 8 vaccines. And when I went in to get the record, they had only a record of giving me 3.
Oh no.
And I got very sick for a while. So,
Sorry.
thing for sure.
And that's the thing too. You as an adult got very sick with 8, and we're doing it on these little bitty bodies. So I think that's the message that we're trying to send. Number one, why do we need over 70 vaccines for a little human to survive? When you look at research that shows a lot of these infectious diseases were already on the decline because we didn't have horses pooping in the street. We had cleaner water filtration, municipal water filtration systems. We had sanitation systems that weren't in existence. It's like,
Exactly.
So, okay, so 1, do we need this many? And 2, do we need them all at once? Can we at least space them out and give these little bodies time to grow and thrive without being inundated? So, yeah.
That's great. So just to kind of go back to the homeopathy thing, if families want to get into it, they can use your guide. Do you have any specific remedies that you would suggest they have on hand, or where they should start with specific remedies or anything like that?
Oh, we have a lot of favorites.
We have tons of posts on like our top 10 guides, 10 remedies for children
or summertime or springtime.
Mhm.
We certainly have our favorites, like having something around for fever or arnica for a bump or a bruise, kind of those basics. Do you have any other favorites? Belladonna, arnica,
pulsatilla for that clingy, weepy baby. Sepia for women is a great hormonal homeopathic remedy. Not a fix-all, but like if you are in that grumpy, impatient, like leave me alone, I just want to run away and be by myself, sepia. But we try to post on homeopathy on our page a lot, which is free. So just scroll through Instagram and you'll see a ton of homeopathy posts.
That's great. Yeah, I take pulsatilla for actually my homeopathic coach recommended it for my hormonal cycle. So, and it works. It's crazy how much, like, I notice like taking it for a month, the difference. It's really, really cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And then do you guys recently I've been getting into using tea as kind of an addition to my health. Like I use I think it's the red raspberry leaf tea. Do you guys have anything that you recommend like that?
We certainly love teas as, additional support. They certainly all have their place. We love, things for support with detoxification or just gut health. We both, I think, keep teas in our medicine cabinet, as an alternative. So we both love using various teas for sure.
We have a post and it's kind of the different ways to take medicine in terms of like natural or botanical medicine. So we don't love gummies. We don't love tablets. We have a doc friend who does colonoscopies, and he's found literally vitamin tablets in the colon. They go all the way through. And he has a friend that owns a septic tank company. and he says he finds tablets in septic tanks, if that tells you anything. So
They're so
Oh my
hard and
word.
compacted, they don't break down, going through the gut.
so then we, in that particular poster kind of schematic, we break it down. We really love teas, kind of herbals. We love powders. We love liquids because it's easy to absorb. I think the tea thing, you do have to make sure you're getting like an organic, good quality,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's literally in its most absorbable form, liquid. The other thing now that's coming out, even like our favorite traditional medicinals, which was started by a naturopathic doctor.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure them even, but the tea bags, even if they're paper, they have some kind of coating that's like if
Yeah.
you're getting just like tea from a common company from like the grocery store,
Yeah.
you may want to cut it out of the tea bag and put it in one of those
Oh,
strainers.
that's smart. That's smart. I
But
never thought about
our
that.
friend Michelle, she has lovely teas for women, especially
Kids love them.
hormones, pregnancy, like lungs. She's got a great lung formula, and
That's great.
it's lovely. Michelle as well is a good resource for that.
But we just
What
get the
is,
little stainless steel strainers and you put them in a
yeah.
cup.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, that's great. Wonderful. I use that Be Well teas. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. If that now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've been drinking this for so long. I hope it's not coated with anything.
It's probably great. Don't worry.
Okay. And then go ahead, Coral.
Oh, I just had when talking about the pills, I couldn't take prenatals the whole time I was pregnant because I would either throw them up and it was fully in the pill form and it'd be like 3 hours later.
Mm.
And they made me so sick. Do you guys have any recommendations for like prenatals that are actually like able to be absorbed while you're pregnant that doesn't make you sick?
We really love Seeking Health. That's one of our favorite brands. The guy behind it, also a naturopathic doctor, he's like the guru, especially when it comes to MTHFR, which so many women have. But getting a good quality like that, Needed is also another good brand. But you can get a powder form, and that may be necessary, and doing smaller quantities, because you're right, when you're nauseous in pregnancy and you're like, I don't want anything on my stomach, especially a prenatal, getting it in where you can is going to be important. The other thing that happens oftentimes in pregnancy, especially as our bellies grow, babies grow, our real estate, our gut real estate in our stomach gets so compressed, you may not be making the acid that you need to actually break down those capsules, tablets,
Right.
etc. So if it sits on your stomach, then it can worsen nausea. And sometimes women feel like, oh, I have a lot of heartburn, I've got plenty of acid, but it can actually be a low acid picture that's making your stomach rebound and trying to make more acid. So that gets a little trickier. That's like when having a good midwife or provider to work with. But yeah, pregnancy, yes, it's a big deal.
It's a wild ride.
It is.
And then I want to be respectful of your time. Coral, do you have anything else? I don't want to wrap up without you if you want to
No,
share.
we're
Are you
good.
guys okay if I wrap up? I don't want to cut it off, but I just want to be respectful. We're almost at an hour, so I don't want to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And if people want to find you, you said you have Instagram, your website. Is there anything else that you'd like to recommend, or your guides are on Etsy?
Yeah, Instagram, website, Pinterest, Etsy, our Ask Nook. I think that's everywhere, isn't it? Yeah.
Great, great.
Yeah. And if you guys think of anything, feel free to reach out, if we can help in any way, for sure.
Or if you want any of the resources we talked about, we could certainly, if you are
Email
able
them
to
to you.
provide them to your community too, we can send them
That'd be
over.
great.
There's a
That'd be
request
great.
for me.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Yes, thank you. This was great.
All right. Nice to meet you both. Take good
You
care.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.